JB, we're gonna make you into a star.
Oh, gee. Okay, thanks.
So no government in the future.
Okay. Well, this is actually Jacque's idea of the government of the future. In his opinion, the government would basically be responsible for production and distribution, and really not much beyond that. I'll give you a perfect example. Like this would be the part of agriculture. So this would be.
Now, this system would run transportation, make sure everything within the city is
Okay.
run well. Yeah, not just production and distribution.
Okay.
As
Well.
long as they're not-
All right. No, that's fine. But I was okay. Well, anyway. Let's put this. It's not going to tell you how to run your lives. That's the point I was trying to make anyway. So, okay. So, Department of Transportation, Department of Energy, Agriculture, so on and so forth. The idea is that each city would have one of these in the center of it. Okay. This would be set up worldwide in what we would call today a mesh network. There wouldn't be a single point of failure. It's not like someone could go in and flip the switch and shut down the whole thing. This would be replicated all over the planet. Each one of these would have tentacles, feelers, sensors, whatever you want to call them, out in the environment. Now, the thing that gave Jacque the idea for this, the inspiration for this, was the human body. And they basically looked at the human body and said, okay, it's a very efficient system. That's what we need to live. You know, how does it work? And you start with the various organs. You look at the heart. And the heart, you know, what does the heart do? Well, heart pumps the blood. What does the heart need? Well, it needs nutrients. It needs some of its own blood, of course, oxygen, so on and so forth. Okay, then you go on to the lungs. What do the lungs do? You know, what do the lungs need? Same thing as the heart needs. Basically, all your organs need pretty much the same things, okay? The point of the matter is, if you were to have your body set up like we do today, with certain countries and certain areas saying, well, I'm the most important organ, I need all the nutrients, or I need most of the nutrients, it wouldn't work. Your body would rot away in a month and you'd die. So, you know, everything has to be set up automated. It has to be set up so that everything gets whatever it needs whenever it needs it, and the resources are shared in an efficient manner. When you're talking about taking care of, you know, 8 billion or 10 or 12 or however many billion we'll end up with eventually, in real time, you know, you cannot do something that's as slow as the government acts today. You know, you don't, if you have agriculture, say, for example, and the water table is dropping and you're growing food, you know, you don't say, hey, we have a guy that says the water table is dropping out there. Let me pick up the phone. Let me call a guy to go out there and turn on the pump. You don't do that. You know, the sensors are already there. The computer senses the water table is dropping, so it turns on the pump, springs the water back to the correct level, and shuts it off again. That's what you're talking about as far as real-time feedback. You know, another good example of why, you know, this government the way we have it today would not work is that a good example is how long it would take, and again, compared to the human body, if you had an infection in your toe, for example. Well, if it ran like it did today, you have a committee meeting in your head for a month to decide what to do about the infection in your toe. You know, by the time you get done with the committee meeting, your whole leg's gangrene, you got to cut it off. So again, you need systems that are automated to make decisions a lot quicker than individuals can. The other problem with government is a lot of government is actually done, you know, by opinion. It's really not done by fact. You know, you have certain politicians that get up there and they, you know, they weigh what limited knowledge they have of something, and they make something based on an opinion. Well, they don't have all the facts really a lot of times. So, plus the fact that they may or may not be swayed by certain special interest groups that, you know, obviously want to use it to their advantage. So it's a very messy system. The point I was trying to make earlier about this is that the computer controls all sorts of things, but it cannot tell you how to live your life. So basically, you're relegating your decision making to a computer to a certain extent, but it would be no different than if anyone here has ever used a pocket calculator. If anyone here has used a pocket calculator, you've relegated your decision making to a computer. You know, assuming that you typed in the equation correctly, and assuming that the pocket calculator is working correctly, it's going to give you an answer a lot quicker than it would take an hour and a half for you to do it by pen and paper. Okay, it's not going to force you to take that answer. You can take it or leave it. You can do whatever you want with it. But odds are, if you're using the tool and it's working correctly, it's going to make things go a lot faster and make your life more efficient. But it's not forcing you to do anything. Okay. The other thing about having a large network computer is, you know, the different things what we would consider disciplines today won't exist as we know them today. You know, Jacque always says what the world needs is more generalists, not more specialists. You know, we have somebody who just understands biology, or just understands chemistry, or just understands, you know, engineering or whatever. There'll be cross-referencing of all different fields. You know, so you'll be able to take things from one field and put it in another field. Computers will probably become eventually very good at being able to cross-reference different fields. You come up with an idea, you put it in and say, I'd like to do this, and the computer will go, okay, that's great. Now if you use this metal or you use this thing, it can cross-reference and come up with better stuff. I wouldn't say better stuff than we could come up with on our own, but a lot quicker. It wouldn't take 1,000 years, it would take it 1,000 seconds, for instance, to cross-reference that. The other point of it is, I'll give just one example of one discipline, medicine, for example. You know, when something happens right now, a lot of folks, I'm sure you've heard this before, you have something catastrophic happen to you, or you have something that really throws you for a loop. You go into a doctor says, oh, okay, I think it's this, you need to have this operation done, or you need to have this treatment done, okay? And a lot of people say, well, get a second opinion or get a third opinion. Well, why would you need to do that? Well, basically because in a nutshell, you know, the doctor is simply referencing his personal data set. He's using his pattern recognition skills to try to figure out what it is that the symptom is and match it to a treatment that he knows of. Okay, that's really all it is. It's the most simplistic form. Now, you know, if you have a centralized database that then has a sensor that, say you walk in with a skin condition and you have an optical sensor and you scan it over your skin, it goes into a database, and that database can cross-reference the information of, say, 200,000 doctors. Well, 200,000 heads is way better than 1, 2, 3, or, you know, even 50. You're going to have knowledge from doctors that know fringe things that, you know, a lot of others don't. You know, when you have that, you're going to get a much more accurate answer much quicker, you know, than having to go to individual doctors. So we're talking about putting massive amounts of information to cross-reference in one database. So that, in fact, they even have a thing they came out with, I think it was a little over a month ago. I was forwarded some information on a thing, I believe it works on iPhones. It's a new app they have out. And it does pretty much exactly that. There's a lens that costs like $500, I think, that you have to put on there. But you can use it to actually scan a skin condition. It'll upload it to a database, it'll cross-reference it, and it'll actually try to diagnose right there on an iPhone. And this is like within the last month. We've been talking about this for a long time. So these things are slowly coming to fruition. But anyway, again, using computers to automate all the mundane tasks and a lot of the stuff that's open to opinion right now is really what we're talking about for this. So it just makes things quicker, it makes things more efficient, and again, it's not going to tell you how to live your life, it's just going to give you more accurate results quicker and more efficiently, in a nutshell. So.
Thank you.
Would the system